Tom's in an awkward spot with his stack size. You know, a shove is pretty big to put in the rest here, but you can't fold tens.
I believe this is the biggest pot of the match pre-flop.
It is, and
Hellmuth flops himself a 7 now to potentially get himself into a little bit of trouble. Well, he's finally got something.
5,600.
That he does. If Hellmuth were to spring to life with a limp re-raise here, that would be some evidence to the contrary of the idea that he has a read on Tom. Does seem like he's thinking about it.
21,000.
Oh, now, finally, at long last, Dwan being given the opportunity. And how will he approach it? Because obviously the last thing he wants is to put the 4-bet in there and have that snap Hellmuth shove it all into the middle situation with these two tens, which notably are etched in their history, dating way back to the Poker Championship when Dwan first ended up on Hellmuth's radar.
Yeah, in a very similar spot. Dwan shoved these in, ran into aces, and spiked the 10. Tom's in an awkward spot with his stack size. You know, a shove is pretty big to put in the rest here, but you can't fold tens.
I believe this is the biggest pot of the match pre-flop.
It is, and
Hellmuth flops himself a 7 now to potentially get himself into a little bit of trouble.
A little bit of trouble, but you know, in some ways, this could be getting him out of trouble. It could actually work in either direction. You know, he's going to start. We can see here by thinking about going for some protection and a little bit of value. But we know that he's not going to, you know, he's not going to bluff with this hand across 3 streets. So he's not going to put Tom's stack in unless he improves. So Tom might get the opportunity to see a showdown where he otherwise might not have.
Check.
Does go for the check.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Right on cue, a third 7 for Hellmuth, and this is pretty disastrous for Tom Dwan. Perhaps that jack dangling out there as an overcard to the 2 tens could serve to provide some relief.
Yeah, Hellmuth playing his hand as if he has a hand like ace, king, ace, queen. Tom not seeking value yet. Let's see if Hellmuth starts to or relays the trap. He does go for the bet that he already had cut out for the potential flop bet. Can't see Tom getting away from the hand at this point. Can't really see him looking to seek extra value, so I think unless he makes some miraculous read, we're going to take this to the river where I have no idea how he will handle further aggression from Hellmuth.
What are the computations Dwan is making right now in terms of fold, call, raise?
Well, he doesn't want to raise because it's not accomplishing much. It's just kind of pure protection. You're not getting called by worse. But as far as fold and call, he's asking himself, okay, if Phil's bluffing, why didn't he bluff the flop? So he might think that Phil's likely to be value betting. But that said, Phil could be value betting a hand like 6s. Phil could be protecting a hand like ace queen. So I don't think Tom can consider folding yet. If and when Phil fires this river, he's no longer repping a hand that is worse than 10s for value. And so then Tom needs to ask himself the question, if Phil's bluffing here, why didn't he start bluffing earlier?
37.
So that check back on the flop might actually aid these 10s into the muck correctly.
It might. And, you know, Tom's navigated these spots pretty well. But that said, I mean, 10s are so strong here. Phil's been so aggressive with these 3 bets.
113,000 out there, 37,000 to call.
Getting 3 to 1. He's only got to be right a quarter of the time. But is this how Phil would play his, you know, queen 3 suited, or would he just stab the jack 7 deuce rainbow flop, which is so appealing to fire that flop bluff with?
How much is it? 37? 37.
This is an extremely tough spot. That, I would have a very hard time getting away from, just given the sheer number of times that Phil's taken really aggressive pre-flop action. And not for nothing, you know, he blocks 10-8. Could have gotten there.
Trips.
Tom does pay him off. He's gonna get the bad news. Yeah, Tom just couldn't quite figure. It's such a strange line.
Yeah.
Tens. I was so worried.
And you don't put him on the 7 so often with a pre-flop limp re-raise.
Lucky for me.